Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gamertime Shows podcast. Here for week number 5, your host, Big Al Mocious.
What's up, everybody? Thank you, Matthew, for that introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, last week we did Matt's Lager Locks and Big Al's Cold Hard Picks. This week we're doing things a little different, just keeping it original, keeping it real. We'll do that again next time, but and plus, after our picks last week, I think we need a couple beers. What do you say, Matt?
Yeah, it was a pretty rough week, wasn't it?
Yeah, we actually had picked the same games, and we actually ended up 8-7. So let's step it up this week.
Yeah.
Maybe disagree on some things, argue a little bit. How about it?
All right, sounds good.
All right. So starting off tomorrow night, across in Seattle, Washington. The Seattle Seahawks, coming off their win against Arizona, they're gonna battle a Rams team who just got shocked, would be the word I'd say.
Yeah.
Rams at Seahawks, I think this should be a battle, but do you like the 12th man, or do you like the Rams to bounce back? What do you got?
I actually like the Rams to bounce back. It's going to be a tough one going into Seattle with that 12th man, as you said. But I think that last week was a little bit of a fluke against, who was it, Tampa Bay that put up all the points?
Absolutely.
Yeah, put up 50 plus on them. So I think that was a bit of a fluke. I think they'll definitely bounce back, especially with, the division rival against the Seahawks. So it's like, you got a lot of heart going into this, and you don't want to. You lose another one, you go to 3-2. Your season after starting 3-0, it's really taking a hit. So I think they're going to want to bounce back, definitely.
Okay, well, quoting the famous Lee Corso of college football analysts on College Game Day, not so fast, my friend. Seattle Seahawks will not want to lose to the Rams at home when they got the crowd behind them, being that divisional game. As you said, Russell Wilson will take care of the Rams. Rams just give up 55 to the Bucks. I can't believe what's going on. I'm sorry. We disagree on our first game.
All right, sounds good.
I'll take the Seahawks at home just to get their mojo back up and keep it rolling.
All right.
Yeah. Well, next Sunday then we started out. Got the Arizona Cardinals with the Kyler Murray going to Cincy, who just got dominated by the Pittsburgh 0-3 Pittsburgh Steelers, now 1-3. Can you see the Cincinnati trying to get this win, or Arizona's just too good for this one?
Well, this is definitely a battle of the crappy teams here. Neither of them are very good, but I heard that the Bengals went into Seattle and actually played pretty well. I'm not sure if that was last week or the week before or when that was, but I'm hearing good things, and they played decently well at times. Last week was actually the Steelers. That's right, you just said it. The Steelers whooped them, and the Bengals didn't show up for prime time at all. So I think that'll give me my edge. I think I like the Cardinals here. The Bengals are just a crappy team, and they're stuck in the middle of a should we rebuild or should we contend or anything like that. So they're unhealthy. They're very, very blah, in my opinion. So I think that they get the loss here at home, and the Cardinals come away with it.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I mean, Arizona, they got the weapons on offense, and even though they haven't been the most productive did with Kyler Murray right now. I think this Bengals team is just kind of. I might go out on a limb and almost say like the Miami Dolphins. They might not win a game.
Wow.
Yeah. Get a load of that one.
Yeah.
Well, and they might, like I said, they might not win a game, and they might win one, and gosh, they play each other week 16, Cincinnati at Miami, so someone's got to win. But I don't see them winning this one, even at home, Arizona all the way.
Okay.
Next up, we have the Buffalo Bills, who just put up a fight against the Patriots, going to Tennessee, which I believe just kind of embarrassed Atlanta. And I'm just confused on this team. So, Buffalo 3-1, Tennessee up and down. Who do you like?
Yeah, well, I definitely like Buffalo. The Titans are a little bit of a surprise. I did not expect them to beat the Falcons. Although I think the Falcons are really struggling, but either near or there. Mariota is just, man. There's times where he's still showing flashes, and then there's times where he doesn't. The inconsistency is a huge turnoff for me. He was a promising young quarterback at one point and just kind of never got there. If it's injuries, it's injuries. But it disappoints me. I thought he was going to be another great quarterback in the NFL, but it looks like there could be one in Buffalo. He's playing pretty well, but I don't know if he is the traditional. Pocket passing, or he's more athletic in that, and that is, of course, Josh Allen. So he got a huge concussion last week. I don't know if you saw that hit; it was pretty nasty. But I heard he's okay, and he might be playing. I think he's going to be playing, actually. But yeah, I like Buffalo.
Not so fast, my friend. Just because Mariota is not doing his job doesn't mean the rest of the offense and defense won't do their job. They get it done at home. I mean, you gotta love Henry. You gotta love Lewis. You gotta love Delaney Walker as well. So, and that defense led by Jarrell Casey. I mean, I don't have a problem with Buffalo. I think they're playing really well, but I think they lose this one on the road after a fight with the New England Patriots. That took a lot out of them. I think they'll ease up this week.
Okay.
So now we got the Chicago Bears, the monsters of Midway, going out to the Raiders. And that Johnny Gruden team, they played pretty well at home, and now I think this might be their second game at home after being on the road for 2. So Oakland's coming back home. Who do you like, Bears and Raiders?
This one's in Oakland, but that's not going to help at all. The Chicago Bears defense is just probably the best defense in football, and the Oakland Raiders offense is but nothing to be real proud of. So you're going to take an offense in Oakland, which is completely mediocre, up against probably one of the best defenses over the last 10 years. This is going to get ugly, and I do not care who is at home or where this game is at. The fans are not going to be able to stop that Chicago defense. It's going to get nasty, and I like Chicago.
Not so actually, so fast, my friend. I have to agree with you on this one, Matt. Just the Bears, the way their defense is built, and I think they will give up some points to this Oakland team, especially with Jacobs, the running back. But I just think, and I don't know if you mentioned it. What did you say? Mitch Trubisky was going to play or not?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about whether or not he would miss. That I'm not sure about that one.
Okay, well, even so, I think their backup is Chase Daniels.
Yeah.
So he's a pretty decent backup. So I say no matter who's at quarterback, the Bears still win this one. Not easy, but I like the Bears.
Yeah.
All right. Now you got when the Bucks come marching in. When the Bucks come marching in.
Oh boy.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers just pulled off a wild one out in LA, and now they're coming to the Dome where the Cowboys just played and the New Orleans Saints. Division game, no Drew Brees again. Can Tampa Bay put up those points again, or who do you like in the Dome?
This is actually my one of two upsets of the week. I am actually going with the red hot, and I mean red hot, Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. And to come in to Nolans and steal one from one of the rowdiest crowds in NFL, I like Tampa Bay.
Wow. I don't know what was in the water down in Tampa Bay last week. Well, actually up in LA, but anyway, I don't know what they fed them before the game, but they just put up points, man.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Against the Rams defense, like, no one expected that.
Yep.
So, the Bucks put up those points. The Saints, they still have some talent, because they held the Cowboys to one touchdown and still won a freaking game. But I'm going upset too.
Whoa!
Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Marching out of the Saints Stadium with a victory.
Very nice.
Let's do it. You and me, picking them all. Upset Central.
All right.
Alright, next up, we got the Purple People, the Minnesota Vikings, Dalvin Cook, going to New York, and the surprisingly 2-2 Giants with the new guy at quarterback. No Barkley in this one again, but so I think that'd be tough for them against that Vikings defense. But who do you like, Minnesota Giants?
Well, okay, so you said no Barkley, but what I'm hearing is that he is just doubtful. It is not uncertain that he is out for this game. They said that They said he is already running on his foot. His partially torn, what? Wait, no. I'm thinking of somebody else. That was a high ankle sprain for Barkley. I heard that he was out of the boot a couple of days ago, and he's already running on it. So I don't think he's going to play this weekend, but there's actually a pretty good chance he could play next weekend, which is going to be the quickest recovery I've ever freaking witnessed. He was supposed to be out 4 to 6, and he comes back in 2, which is just bonkers. But anyways, this is actually upset special number 2. I am going with the home team and the home crowd and Mr. Danny Dimes to bounce back and get his 3rd win in a row and 3rd game of pretty good quarterback play. I like what he's doing. He's slinging the ball. He's not afraid. He's got accuracy. He's got athleticism. The Vikings are a bit of a disappointment so far this year. They should be one of the better teams, and I think that disappointment is going to continue there in the Meadowlands. I got the Giants.
Wow, the Giants. Okay. Not so fast, my friend.
I could sense a running theme here.
I believe it.
The Lee Corso special.
That's right, baby. Anywho, these Giants Giants are surprising. You know, they could have been, like 0-3 to start the year, or one. You know, when they got the first win up down in Tampa Bay, where the kicker missed the field goal for 34 yards.
Yeah, they went 0-2 and then won the last two, so they're 2-2 right now.
Okay, I see. Well, you know, I understand they're feeling good right now, and Barkley is beginning to get healthier. But I just think that Minnesota, you know, their defense is up and down, but I still think that the Giants don't stop the run game and Dalvin Cook, and, you know, you got Diggs and Thielen on the outside, so I like the road team in this tough game, but I got to go with the Vikings.
Okay.
Now we got the Jets flying to Philadelphia for, as I hear, Sam Darnold might come back for this game. If not, Luke Falk, I believe, still will be the starter. Philly, big win in Green Bay last week. Who do you got in Philly? Jets, Philly.
Yeah, this is probably the most famous case of mono I think I've ever heard. I think that for Sam Darnold, his case of mono is probably almost on the outs. So I think that he's almost back to health. I think it's the same as Saquon. He probably isn't going to play this weekend, but there's a good chance he can come back next weekend. So, you know, you look forward to the two New York guys getting back into the game. But this is just, I think even with Sam Darnold, this New York Jets team just isn't good enough. Philly is finally clicking on all cylinders, and they seem to have bounced back from a rough start. So I think that they are clearly the better team here, and just being in the game in Philly this weekend, I think it's just all the more reason. So I got Philly on this one.
Yeah, the Jets, they got Le'Veon, but, I think Philly's defense can stop that run. And, their secondary is what concerns me. It's a little banged up right now. I don't know who really the Jets have on receiving core, but they might have a decent day throwing the ball, but I gotta go with Philly too. I think Carson will have a big day, hopefully, because he's my fantasy quarterback. And yeah, I just think this is an easy win for Philly.
Okay.
Now, you've heard of Duke, North Carolina. You've heard of Boston Yankees. Well, this matchup, folks, takes place in a Steel City. The Baltimore Ravens are coming to town, and they're coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers. These teams are one of the hardest hitting teams I've ever seen in football. It's going to be blood. There's going to be bruises, no teeth, people with no teeth, walkers, canes, everything. Someone's going to get hurt. Who do you like, Ravens, Pittsburgh?
So this game is in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
The Steelers they finally got their first win and a bounce-back blowout against Cincinnati. The Ravens started off to a real hot start against some, easier teams. But their offense looked really good. And then when they played against a pretty talented, equally slow-starting Cleveland Browns team, they didn't show up, and the Browns actually kind of ran away with it. So they're currently sitting at 2-2, and the Steelers are 1-3. But this game being in Pittsburgh, I think that the Steelers kind of rise to the occasion, and they realize that they're the older brother here against the Ravens. In my opinion, they always have been. So I think the Steelers are just have that mindset where they can always beat the Ravens. So I like the Steelers.
You like the Steelers, okay. Not so fast, my friend. The Baltimore Ravens will soar, or however those Ravens fly. They're going to go into Pittsburgh and knock Mason Rudolph off his butt. They're going to take care of Connor. They're going to take care of Rudolph and make him have a red nose. Baltimore's won in Pittsburgh before. That's why I don't think they're afraid to go into Pittsburgh. It's not a primetime game, but it's it's during the day. I just think after Baltimore lost the way they did, I don't think they lose back-to-back division games. So I'm taking the Ravens on the road.
Okay.
Speaking of the road, the New England Patriots are going to Washington, where I don't know if they're going to start Dwayne Haskins or not, but I really don't think this one matters. Where do you see this one going?
Yeah, that doesn't matter at all. This has got to be probably the easiest start that I've ever seen for not only a defending champion, but even for just the Patriots in general. I mean, this is like unreal. If you go look at their schedule, the teams that they've played so far, and it's like there's nobody on the board that the Patriots, even had to worry about. And this is another one. This is a horrible Washington Redskins team. I got the Patriots winning big again. They're a 15-point favorite, so they're Patriots all the way on this one.
Yeah, I can't give an upset here, Matt. The Redskins are just pretty bad, and I think Haskins should get, if not this week, he should get the start pretty soon just to get him in there and see what he's got. But New England's defense will be all over him, and so will Tom Brady. Tom Brady did struggle against the Bills, but he bounces back against a bad Washington team. I'll take the Patriots on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got Jacksonville going to the surprising Carolina team who struggled in the beginning, but now they're starting to stretch their way and claw their way back into the race here. Who do you like, Jacksonville, Carolina?
Well, Carolina has a really, really good defense once again. They have been called the best front seven on defense in the NFL this year. Christian McCaffrey, always a fan of him. He's having another great year. But I don't think any of that compares to the mayhem of Gardner Minshew. The man stretches in only a jockstrap every game, every pregame in the locker room in front of all of his teammates. Okay, he's got jorts on in walking around his alma mater. He's got a porn stash. He's just the frenzy is insane for this man. He defeated my Denver Broncos last weekend in heartbreaking fashion. He's got the will to win. I'm starting to get a little bit of the Minshew fever, so I'm going with the Jaguars.
Okay. I was back and forth on this game because how the Panthers are just kind of streaking right now, and they're having a home game. Carolina Panthers, Kyle Allen, whoever that crap that is.
Right.
I'm sorry, but what's the phrase? In Minshew, we trust. And so do I. I trust him to take them all the way to Carolina. Get some more points for that team. Defense plays well. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Nice.
The up and down, so far down, Atlanta Falcons will be flying down to Houston to battle Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans. Do you think Atlanta will ever bounce back here, or does Houston take this one after losing last week?
Well, to answer your question, will they ever bounce back? Yes, I think they're gonna bounce back eventually. I don't know if it's going to be this week though. The Houston Texans, I feel like, have been playing have a little bit, like, they haven't been playing up to their talent level. I think that they are an extremely talented football team who could be a potential 4-0 right now, but for whatever reason they haven't lived up to that and are currently sitting at 2-2. Had some pretty disappointing losses out of those two. So being at home and seeing how the Falcons are struggling, I understand the Atlanta still has those weapons, and Julio and Matt Ryan and those guys are still putting up numbers, but it's up to that defense to try and stay in the game, and I don't think that defense is going to be strong enough to slow down Deshaun Watson. So I like the Texans at home.
Well, you mentioned about the talent Atlanta has, and this was my team to win that division, actually, and so far not looking good.
Right.
But, I like what the Houston's got. They still got J.J. Watt. They still have Deshaun and some Hopkins and the boys. Looks like Atlanta's defense has given up a lot, so I like Deshaun to have a good game, and they get the win in Houston.
Okay.
Now, sorry if I offend you or any other Broncos fan here, but the Denver Broncos are riding their horses into the Chargers, which I believe came off an easy win last week in Miami. Now they come home to face your Broncos. What changes here? Who do you like?
Well, okay, so let's say you're a fan of a team who is really struggling, and there's a star quarterback who's going to enter the draft, and you've got a great shot at getting him and rebuilding your franchise into something better.
Okay.
But along the way, you realize that you need to lose games in order to get into the right spot to draft that quarterback. It's actually called tanking. For any of you sports fans who doesn't understand, yes, this happens in sports. It's unfortunate, but there's actually a greater good when it comes to doing so. There's a star in mind that you want to draft, and it's not actually the dumbest idea, so it happens. I currently, as a Denver Broncos fan, am in a little bit of a tank mode. It's a little early, but given what they've shown at the quarterback position, I don't like what I see. Joe Flacco is not my quarterback. He's not the quarterback of the future. So, for the Denver Broncos to select a good quarterback, they would probably need to get a good pick in the NFL draft in 2020, which means they need to lose games. Except against the Chargers.
Excuse me?
Except against the Chargers. There is no way in hell the Denver Broncos will ever lose to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers are the worst football team in the history of the NFL. They are so much pieces of garbage that Phillip Rivers is a horrible quarterback and should never be playing in the NFL ever again. Melvin Gordon should have stayed on the couch. Okay, Austin Eckler is a short little man who cannot get it done. The Los Angeles Chargers will lose this game at home to the elite Denver Broncos. You're welcome.
Excuse me, I think you're hitting the Diet Mountain Dew a little bit too hard there. Not so fast, my friend. The LA, I don't care if they're the San Diego Chargers, I don't care if you call them the LA Chargers, they're going to win this one at home. Come on, that's point number one. Number two of the name. Number two, they got, even if they don't have Melvin Gordon back, which I might think he's actually playing this week, but how is Denver without Bradley Chubb gonna stop that monster? Like, he's ready to roll, so they're going to rely on Von Miller and the Wolfman to get it done. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
Oh, yes, it is.
And I trust Phillip Rivers against finding Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Antonio Gates. You know, just name them all. They're going to beat you. I think pretty handily. I'll even give you a handily. Chargers win at home.
Oh boy.
Look, I know you're hanging on for desperate measures here, but that'd be a crazy upset if you call that one. I like your guts though, kid.
Kid. Okay.
All right. Next up, game of the week, 4:30. Game of the week.
Game of the week.
Fox. Yes, according to.
No, it is.
Fox News.
It is.
That Green Bay Packers team with the bad man Aaron Rodgers. He's coming back to Big D. And you know, the Packers, they've had their luck in Big D in the last couple of years, and you know, so there is a main guy out for Green Bay, I think, and Dallas has some few people missing, but Green Bay, Dallas, game of the week, who do you like?
Well, so the last couple of weeks I've really liked what the Dallas Cowboys have been able to do on offense, given what Dak Prescott has evolved into in this campaign. He's a very good team leading, accurate, gunslinging quarterback that, you know, he didn't really show that over the last couple of years, and he's taken more risks, and the new Kellen Moore offense seems to have benefited him pretty well. I picked them, the Dallas Cowboys, to win last week, and it was not to come true. That was an extremely, extremely disappointing game as far as the Dallas Cowboys offense. And, that defense played well, but I think that when needed the most, they didn't show up. And the argument for them is that the first couple of weeks in which they succeeded so much was because they were playing against weaker opponents. So when they finally played a good team in the New Orleans Saints, they couldn't get the ball moving. So now on the opposite side of the ball, there's a man who moves the ball and puts points on the board no matter who he's playing against, no matter where he's playing. And that's my deciding factor. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers to come into Dallas and defeat the Cowboys. I'm going to go with a score of 35-10.
Whoa, not so fast, my friend. 35-10. I mean, is that your real prediction, or is that you're just screwing with me?
Nope, dead real prediction.
Dead real prediction. Okay.
Yep.
All right. First of all, the Dallas Cowboys, as you mentioned, their offense did struggle in New Orleans, and I kind of thought, it was going to be a good game, and not for the fact that the Saints were at home, because they're not afraid of the Saints being on the road. So the Saints give up 20 points a game, but to Dallas, it was like a revenge game from last year when the Cowboys beat them. So I'll give them that one. That's point number one. Number two, Dallas's defense is going to show Aaron Rodgers why he's getting older. And they're going to put his ass on the ground 4, maybe 5 times.
Okay.
Yes, that will add to my sack debate I have with you, which I'm currently still winning.
Yeah, I think you're going to run away with that one, too.
That was point number 2 with the defense. Like I said, it's kind of frustrating that the defense didn't give up a touchdown to the Saints, and they still lost. But that offense is going to bounce back against the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay couldn't stop Philly's run game late in that game. Howard and Miles Sanders, your boy, just kept running all over them. Now they got to face Zeke and Tony Pollard. So I think Cowboys offense gets back to its little bit normal self. Maybe not as much as they did in the first couple of weeks, but I'm going to give them a 24-20 victory against the Packers.
All right, we'll see.
Yes, it'd be a fun one.
Yeah.
Now, Sunday night, we all been waiting for Sunday night.
Oh, God.
The Indianapolis Colts are, in my opinion, never the best on the road. And that's what they're doing this week. They're going on the road to one of the most loudest stadiums in the NFL, Arrowhead Stadium. Andy Reid, my homeboy, all those guys. Who do you like? Indy on the road in Kansas City.
Well, Arrowhead's going to be rocking for a primetime matchup here. It sucks because it just brings me back to wishing that Andrew Luck would be playing in this game there, but he won't. The Colts are still a decent team without him, but they could have been just as good with him as the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a much better team here. Mahomes is a much better quarterback. He was able to hold on, and they showed a little bit of weakness last week, and they pulled out a narrow victory, but it was because of Mahomes. This kid is incredible. He's showing everybody why he's probably the best quarterback in football today, and this is easy. This is Kansas City all the way.
Absolutely, Matthew. It's for that reason you said there. I mean, I don't know about their defense. I'm kind of iffy on them right now, but so they might give up some points to Indy, but they're gonna score a heck of a lot of points this week, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the 40s. But the homeboy gets it done at home. Sunday Night Football.
Okay.
Now we go to Monday Night Football, one of the most famous nights of the year for football. And just to pause for a second, next Monday night is October 7th, which is 1 year of my mother passing. So this day, even though I'm watching football, it'd be a pretty hard one for me. God rest her soul. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But for that Monday night game on October 7th, we'll be watching the Cleveland Browns, who kind of shocked me against the Ravens this last week, battle the 49ers, who are rolling right now, so both teams are scoring high. Who do you like, Browns and Niners?
Well, dude, your mom was always a pretty big sports fan. I'm not sure if she sat there every Monday night and tuned in, but I know that she was a sports fan. She's got a decent game to watch this Monday night, though. The 49ers are one of the few undefeated teams, and the Browns are currently playing pretty hot right now. So this could actually turn out to be a really good game. My personal pick is probably the 49ers at home, just because it is at home, and they haven't shown they haven't really shown any weakness. Well, okay, they've shown weakness, but they haven't shown a huge liability yet. The Cleveland Browns have. They had an extremely disappointing opening game, and they've, like I said, they're hot now. They've bounced back a little bit, but I think the 49ers are just a little bit hotter. And being at home, I think that'll help. So I got the 49ers.
Okay. I can't argue with that. It should be, like you said, a fun game for mom and all fans to watch. I don't know I can't really get a glimpse of what the Niners would be like on the road, but I think they're a pretty decent team at home, and they drafted Bosa, I guess, the brother from the Chargers, out of Ohio State, in their first round pick, and they're excited about him making that defense run. So the Browns, well, they have some weapons, obviously. Nick Chubb, Jarvis, Beckham. They got Baker. They got some weapons there, and so I think it'll be, like you said, a good game to watch. I think both teams will score, but I'll go with the 49ers.
Okay, alrighty. Okay.
And
go ahead.
I was just gonna say that that ends week 5 of the NFL. Picks from the best podcast in sports, Gamertime Podcast. Matt Kelly.
Okay, so I would like to do a quick recap of our current do bets.
Sure.
So the original bet, if anybody was paying attention back in, a couple of months ago, is the Philadelphia Phillies, in a sense, versus the New York Yankees, in a sense. Our bet was that who would have the higher total of home runs if we were to pick 3 players from the Phillies versus 3 players from the Yankees. Now, who exactly were your picks, Big Al, on the Philadelphia Phillies?
They were Rhys Hopkins, JT Realmuto, and the bad boy himself, Bryce Harper. Okay.
So, I am currently trying to do this as quick as possible, but my tally that I am coming up with here is, you have a pretty good number here. Bryce Harper had finished the season with 35 home runs, Rhys Hoskins with 29, and Realmuto with 25, which is a grand total of 60 plus 30 is 90, 89 home runs. Okay. Now,
Matthew, who were your picks?
Okay, so
The New York Yankees.
So the last time we talked about this, we redid our picks. Is that correct?
Yes, because I believe one of yours was injured. So
Yours was too.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure you picked McCutcheon, who had a season-ending injury.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, currently, now, I just want to let everybody know that the playoffs count in this tally.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa! First of all, that was never established. That's point number one. Number two, I'm sorry that you're losing in this case, but we never established that.
Okay, well, first of all, I don't think it really matters because I think you are really starting to kick my butt here. I think that my pick, let's see here. At bats, 300. Okay, so I believe that I picked, on my second pick, was Didi Gregorius, along with Stanton and Judge. So, just to let you know, you are currently blowing me out of a score of 89 to 46.
Of course.
Yeah, so that would mean that I would need 43 playoff home runs out of the three of Judge, Stanton, and Gregorius. Which would mean that all three of them would pretty much have to break a playoff record in the same playoff. So, if that's the case, and it does happen, the good news is, well, for me, the good news is that the New York Yankees will most likely be World Series champions.
Yeah, let's not hit the Mountain Dew on that one, too.
So, that's our baseball bet from a couple of months ago. It seems like I am most likely going to lose that one. But there is another bet that we decided to make right before the season started a couple of episodes ago that I said the Denver Broncos as a team would have more sacks than the Dallas Cowboys as a team. Now, if I try and look up how many sacks each team has currently. Oh man, this is a little tough here. Okay, let's see. Team statistics. Rushing, receiving, punting, defensive statistics, sacks. Okay, so you got 1.5 plus 3 is 4.5 plus 2.5 is 7. 9, 10 total sacks currently.
For you?
For the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, for the Cowboys. I thought you were talking about the Broncos.
No.
Okay.
And for the Denver Broncos, let me just 1 second here. Let's see. Okay, so the Denver Broncos 2019 NFL stats. We are currently sitting at 5 sacks. So you have doubled up so far. Now, that is 5 sacks in one game, just to let you know. We had that all done this past weekend. So, you are currently winning both current bets. How do you feel?
Pretty good. When I make these bets, Matthew, with you or anybody, I don't bet unless I'm going to win.
Yeah.
So, the fact that you wanted to take me on baseball, on football, on God knows what we're going to bet on next. Actually, if I remember correctly, we do have one basketball bet for this coming season that the Pelicans would have a better record than the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, you're crazy. So,
yeah,
we are very excited for basketball season as it is right around the corner. We will try and mix in our picks. If we need to shorten, we can shorten some of our convo and mix in a little bit of this and that in the basketball world. Maybe in the hockey world as well. We're very
just started tonight.
Yeah, that's right. So we're very excited for fall sports. We are currently right in the mix of it, and we will end this podcast on a nice rant from Big Al as he proclaims that he is the best bettor in the history of betting. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate all of you. It is the Gamertime Shows podcast here on YouTube. If you see us, if you listen to this and you like, hit subscribe, send us love. You can even find us on Twitter at Gamertime Shows. You can tell us how you feel on there. Any advertisers, anybody with ideas for the show, you can email us, gamertimeshows@gmail.com. So yeah, we are very, very eager to continue fall sports. But as for me, I appreciate you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week. Big Al?
And just to add in there, people, about the fall sports, the fall classic of October baseball. We'll give you some updates on how the baseball playoffs are going as well. We're back to all four sports in a couple of weeks, so we're excited for that. Thank you for staying with us. Like I said, best sports podcast in all of sports. You're listening live from Matthew Kelly and Big Al Moses. We thank you. Thank you for sticking with us. God bless you. Take it away, Matthew.
All right, we will see you all next week. Peace.